5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen and in-betweeners, on this week's On the Rocks Live from Home Edition, Quarantine and Chill, we welcome winner of RuPaul's Drag Race and co-star of HBO's hit show, We're Here. Just renewed for season 2, by the way, Bob the Drag Queen, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most, Alexander the Barfly. Doesn't have the same ring as Bob the Drag Queen, but there you go. Anyway, raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, it's gonna be a bumpy night. Buttons and bows and pantyhose, On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Purse first, purse first. Things are reopening and everybody is freaking out because they are not body ready. Why is nobody ready? The bars are reopening in West Hollywood and Orange County, nationwide. And I'm a little worried too, because as you'll notice, my Zoom frame gets smaller and smaller because I don't want you to see my quarantine carbs. Pretty soon it's just gonna be my eye on Zoom. Anyway, today's show is brought to you by Just4.fans, the top award-winning site connecting content creators with their fans. Sign up for free at Just4.fans. Incidentally, they made gay news this last week for taking a stand against racism. I wrote an article about it for GED Magazine. Check it out at gedmag.com. And yay, Just for Fans. Kurt, do you have a pun for us today? You're so punny.
Of course I have a pun for you.
Make it snappy. We have Bob the Drag Queen here, and he's a comedian.
Okay, are people born with a photographic memory, or does it take time to develop?
My God. No, nobody gets up a Kurt. That's horrible. Nobody has development anymore. It's on camera. Anyway, thanks, Kurt, for that, stunning pun. The show is brought to you by Straw Hat Media. You can watch and or listen to our every one of over 200 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. New episodes, archived episodes drop every Thursday. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Roku, Pandora's podcast section. Watch us on YouTube and on the Facebook pages of Now Trending, GED Magazine, and I Love LGBT, and of course, On the Rocks Radio Show's Facebook and streaming live on the Now Trending app. Add and or subscribe to us on your favorite podcast player. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up now that things are reopening. With a mask, of course, glitter mask. Send me an email to info@ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your questions, comments, and nudes. Check out the new issue of Metro Source Magazine nationwide for my interviews this month with Leslie Jordan, pop star Luciana, and the band Betty. And newsstands, or you can go online, metrosourcemagazine.com. Yes, I can read and write, allegedly. All right, let me introduce our guest. Bob the Drag Queen is having a moment, a major moment. The season 8 winner of RuPaul's Drag Race was noted for her focus on comedy. During the show, Bob won 3 challenges on the very difficult, it gets more difficult every season because get your ish together, recreate in a Snatch Game. Where Bob portrayed Uzo Aduba and, of course, Carol Chaney Raspberries. Bob is back with a plethora of projects to impress, currently starring alongside Shangela and Eureka O'Hara on HBO's first unscripted hit series, We're Here, just renewed for another season. Comedy specials include Bob the Drag Queen Live at Caroline's and Bob the Drag Queen Suspiciously Large Woman, as well as MTV's Drag My Dad, The Pit Stop, and her ever-popular podcast, Sibling Rivalry, with best friend, touring partner, and RuPaul All-Star Drag Race winner herself, Monet Exchange. She also starred with screen actress Olympia Dukakis on Tales of the City. Yes, get it, Olympia. Check out her single, Purse First, the only song that actually gets me on a treadmill. And also for the web series she produced titled Besties, she is everywhere. Please welcome BTDQ. Boom, boom.
Wow, you really got all my information in there. And I gotta tell you, I met Olympia and she do caucus. That is true.
I actually went for a rally for Michael Dukakis when he was running. I was a little boy. It was my first, kind of experience. Yeah, but we have a cute pic of you and Olympia. And that must have been a moment, because I wouldn't have wanted that scene to end. I would just wanted to, shoot the shit with her all day long.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm actually really like, when you call my career back to me, it sounds so impressive. It's like I've done some really cool stuff.
It is impressive, and I tell you, the response that we got when we announced that you were on the show, it was so varied from so many different types of fans that you have, and you have crossed so many genres. Like I mentioned, mainstream, podcasting, web series, a spokesperson for LGBT, a spokesperson for civil rights, and a spokesperson for just being yourself, which we know right now is a little difficult.
Well, I'm gonna add to that. I am now.
Yes.
I'm gonna call myself a model, because I was in the Coach Christmas campaign with Kate Moss, and you know what? If she was there and they were booking models, I'm gonna say I am also a model.
Girl, you are a model. You are a model, and that's pretty impressive. So I just have to ask, what was Kate like? What was craft services like on the set of that shoot? And did Kate Moss eat anything?
Well, okay, so we were like upstairs. So it was in this mansion on the Upper West Side. And I was like in this room, like in one of the bedrooms of the mansion. Everyone else had trailers, and I was in one of the bedrooms. And then craft service was at a church, like I think like 4 blocks away. And they just had like, it was like not like they had Chinese food delivered. It was really delicious Chinese food too. It was great. But yeah, I was in like a bedroom. There were trailers. I don't know. It was me. Who was there? I was there. Spike Lee was there. The girl from Grownish, the lead girl from Grownish was there. So lots of people were there. And I don't know how they divvied up the trailers and the bedrooms, but probably the trailers were probably fancier. Quite frankly.
And I'm sure Kate had a piece of lettuce, which was simply decadent. That's pretty awesome,
I just
though.
walked in and saw her there, and I was like, oh my God, Kate, just 2 supermodels here hanging out.
I mean, who would have thought a little boy growing up? You were raised in Georgia, right?
I was raised in Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, but mostly Georgia.
Who would have thought that little boy would be doing a Coach campaign? I mean, that's the craziest thing to just kind of
with
imagine.
Kate Moss, no less.
With
Kate Moss, no less. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to know, because I met you through RuPaul's Drag Race, and I mean meet you as like every fan just gagging out on TV. But what kind of kid were you? What group did you hang out with? What was it like growing up in those cities?
I was gonna say, I love these pictures. I look so good at these
Girl,
pictures.
you look
Oh my! I look like, first of all, I look 9 feet tall. Those gays look terrified of the monster woman dressed in green, who's mostly hair at this point.
You know what I love about this picture? There's so much diversity. It's like, tall Black drag queen talking to 2 bears in the middle of nowhere. I mean, come on. This is what it's all about.
I actually have that headpiece right here. I literally keep it, because I'm in my basement. I literally have the headpiece. It's literally right there. Okay, I get distracted easily. How was I as a child? I was a very talkative kid. I really loved to debate. I really loved the opportunity to try to convince my mom to give me something more. I used to do these presentations in the living room where I would try to get my mom to let me get an extra 30 minutes of awake time. So just switch my bedtime from 8 to 8:30. I asked a lot of questions. My the librarian at my school called me the detective, because I was always asking questions.
Yeah, you were like a nosy queen. Like before you were the queen, you were like,
Very much so. Very much so.
Now, true or false? You worked in children's theater for a period. Is that correct?
Yeah, for years I worked for 3 different children's. I worked for Climb Theater based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I worked for the Grumbling Griffins Traveling Children's Theater based out of Cornwall, Connecticut. And I worked for the Missoula Children's Theater based out of Missoula, Montana.
No, I did children's theater for about 3 years every summer. We did like 4 shows a day, and I wanted to kill myself. And now I know I never want kids. But what did you learn? What did you learn the most professionally from doing those years of children's theater? Because it's a whole different beast.
Yeah, I mean, I really like kids. I mean, I really love kids when you have the opportunity to like give them back at the end of the day. I've also learned that kids tend to be a little bit more well-behaved in a structured setting. When you're like, hi, I'm the authority figure. I'm here. I'm the teacher. I'm the director. Everyone listen to me, as opposed to when you just have a child in your home and you're like, I'm here. I'm locked with a monster. I'm locked with a monster. Um, but yeah, I really thought the children's theater was going to be my whole life, actually, for a while.
Well, there's certainly people that make a career out of it, and it's it's like I said, it's a whole different beast. I want to know about the very first time that you did drag. You were protesting?
No, the very first time I did drag, I was at a gay pride parade. I was literally at the gay pride parade in New York City, dressed in drag, hanging out with my friends, and we just went into the city and I was dressed up. That was literally the whole story. I wish it was more exciting. My first time performing was actually doing stand-up comedy at the New York Comedy Club over on the East Side.
Okay. But you had like a drag queen name change, did you not?
Yeah, my first name was Kitten with a Whip. I used to be Kitten with a Whip for about 3 years, which is based on an old Anne Margaret film called Kitten with a Whip.
Oh, I love me some Anne Margaret. Girl, I love Anne Margaret. I love Anne Margaret from Bye Bye Birdie, and I love Anne Margaret in Tommy.
Well, you got to see Kitten with a Whip. And Kitten with a Whip, she plays this woman who's obsessed with this guy, but he's married. And then she kind of goes crazy on him. It's a really great film. Anyway, I changed my name because people kept getting my name wrong. It was driving me crazy. So I just started going by Bob instead.
I mean, who's going to get Bob wrong, right?
Exactly.
We right now, obviously, we're in such a heated political and social climate. I wanted to talk to you about your opinions on labels. We have created so many labels within the LGBT community, from bears to twink, gender fluid, to changes in pronouns. And these are not labels that I had when I was growing up. Are labels, in your opinion, helpful for us to understand who we are, or do they actually segregate us?
Well, I think it's about how you identify as a person. For example, something I can't stand if someone looks at me and says, I don't see you as Black. And I'm like, listen, if you don't see me as Black, you don't see me. Black is a label that I'm very happy to wear. I'm proud to be Black, and I want people to know that I'm Black. You know what I mean? Not that anyone wouldn't know. I mean, I sound Black, I look Black, I am Black. But for someone who has experiences that would make you think they aren't Black, that could be really upsetting. So I think it's all about how you want to identify. There are some folks who go, I don't use labels. I don't see when people say like, I don't see color. That's weird to me. I don't see color. I don't see defining characteristics. Is this a pair of scissors or is this a toaster? I don't know, because I can't see things. And it's like, you can see, like you fully see that. And if it helps people have an identity within themselves, then that's their prerogative.
So I've experienced both sides of it, because I've seen it as a positive, but I've also seen where people get so angry when you are not knowledgeable about their labels and what it means, or you don't refer to them by certain labels, or you kind of talk about a whole group rather than this is your label and that's your label. I've seen a little anger with that as well.
Well, I haven't necessarily seen people get angry about not being referred to as like a bear or a twink, but I have seen people get angry in reference to getting their pronouns wrong. Now, I want to let everyone know the difference between like a pronoun and a label. Like identifying as like a bear and having someone respect your pronouns is two different things, and I can understand why. I mean, I use he, him, she, her pronouns, and it's basically based on how you know me. A lot of my friends call me he, him, or my friends call me she, her in all situations based on where they know me from, how long they've known me. But I know some people who are pretty strict with their pronouns, and I do my best to try to respect
it. This week, a large part of the LGBT community has rallied with and in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. What can we do as the LGBT community to really support this? Other than going out in the protests and holding signs, what is it, in your opinion, that we can do and that we should be doing?
Well, I think it's important to remember, first of all, that like the LGBT community already has like Black people in it. So like bear in mind that just because we're in the LGBT community, it's not that some people think about the queer community, they just see like white gays, like white gay men. But there are so many more people in the community than just that. So I like to keep that in mind. And it also doesn't hurt to remember things, to remember like the idea of like, you ever heard of the idea of like visiting a movement? Like you show up for a moment, like Black Lives Matter for the next month, and then I got to get out of here, girl, because I got stuff to do. Like how can you integrate that into your daily life? Maybe calling out injustice when you see it. Remember, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And
very
sometimes
true.
it does seem bleak. I keep quoting MLK today, but it's such a great quote. You know, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Like it may seem like we're really taking a while to get there. It's not as sharp, it's not acute, it may be a little bit obtuse, but you know, everyone has to do their part in order for us to get there.
Well, it's funny because I saw that on social media. You know, for 2 days, social media in my circle of friends, which I was very glad to see, was saturated in support of the protests, in support of Black Lives Matter. And then today, I'm scrolling through social media, and we're back to shirtless pics and what I ate for breakfast. It's like, what happened?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not here to tell you that you can't be shirtless, but I'm also here to tell you that you can use your platform and you can use your voice and you can use your presence to make sure that you're part of the solution and not part of the problem. Because I do believe it is that simple. And I will say there's a lot of gray area in a lot of things, but I think when it comes to racism in America, you are either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
Well, and girl, I cannot go shirtless. That's a fact. Even Helen Keller wouldn't want me to go shirtless. She'd be like, "No, girl, put it away."
You can do it, Alexander. You can do it.
One of my friends who was making somewhat racist comments, and not aggressively racist, but just out of ignorance, was making comments that I was so upset about, and I called him on it. And then he says, "Well, you go out to West Hollywood and you're not calling out the bar owners, or you're not calling out West Hollywood for not featuring more Black dancers, bartenders." And then he said, you know, there's like Latin night and there's hip hop night. And should we do away with that kind of focused nights?
Oh, no, you should not. No. Your friends' ideas to absolve spaces for minorities, their ideas to no. The short answer is no. That's a horrible idea. I mean, if you think about it from things like Latin nights and stuff like that, think about it on a larger scale. Think about like HBUs, historically black universities and colleges. Like these are places where Black people can go in an attempt to get their education, have not every day be about being a Black person in a white space. Getting education is actually more geared toward them. And the idea of absolving that and just forcing, assimilation, I don't necessarily think that's the key.
Well, I really appreciate that comment, because that is a good perspective on it.
Oh wait, and I hate to break it off too, but you should tell that same friend, well, you know what? If your idea is so grand, let's undo the whole thing. No more gay bars. Now gay folks have to just go to straight bars. Like he only thinks of it when it's people who aren't him. But when he's like, wait, you can't take my gay bars. Don't take my gay bars. And I'm like, well, then don't take my Black night. Don't take my hip hop night. I need that.
Girl, where were you when I was retorting to him? That's exactly perfect.
I was probably playing Fortnite on my Switch over here or something.
I have to ask, you have been in such a whirlwind of press from your season of RuPaul, and now with We're Here. Is there part of you that just like, oh, another interview? Who is this outlet? What is this podcast? Like, what's going on? Is there kind of a PR exhaustion?
Sometimes, but I really like talking. Like sometimes I'm like, I equate it to this. When I was younger, the idea of walking my dog used to really annoy me. Like something about walking the dog was really exhausting. But once I was walking, I was like, this isn't really a big deal. So sometimes I'm like, an interview, and then I'm like clicking on a link, but once I'm in it, I'm like, I'm just talking and having fun at this point.
That's so funny. I'm quarantining actually with my mom in Orange County. And she has a dog who's a bigger diva than I am. And I complain about walking the dog so much because it's such a pain in the ass. But like you said, the minute like I'm outside and we're doing it and I got my AirPods on, I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah. But then the next time I have to do it, I'm like, God, I have to walk the goddamn dog.
Every time. Wait, Orange County, California, Orange County, New York?
Orange County, California.
California, the OC.
Oh, girl. Talk about conservative. That's where I was born and raised. Not much has changed. It's like later that day, and it's like
so it's a weird conservative blip so close to Los Angeles. It's really interesting.
It is so weird, and I would tell you, if you're looking on Grindr, nobody can host, and everybody is discreet because they're married, they're Republican, and they're still in the closet. Which it sounds like a funny thing, but it's actually really sad to know that there's so many people not living their lives. Yeah. Bob, comedy is something you do so well, as exhibited in every project that you do. I asked Margaret Cho this question as well, because she's known for her very outlandish comedy. Do we now need to be a little bit more sensitive with the jokes that we're telling? Do we need to be a little bit more politically correct? Should we try to elevate the audiences that we are doing comedy to? And I don't mean elevate in like a egotistical way, but like but in order to educate.
Well, I mean, I think to each their own. I know that my comedy has changed over the years.
Okay.
When I think about what I'm putting out into the zeitgeist, and especially as I get a bigger and bigger audience, a lot of people are picking it up. I think back to comedy that really inspired me, and I look at like Chris Rock, who's my all-time favorite comedian. He just has jokes that are they're still really insanely funny, really thought-provoking. And like it's in saying something. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I don't like a good fart joke here and there. That stuff can be grand and great, you know what I mean? But if I can turn my humor into something that makes people think about social issues, the way that Wanda Sykes made me think about social issues, the way that Chris Rock made me think about social issues, then Mary, that's what I want my art to be.
Do you think we should be calling out celebrities that haven't taken a stand on anything in the last couple of weeks?
I think that is a freedom of speech. And just like some people have a right to not say anything, we have a right to mention that they didn't say anything. You know what I mean? You can't have one without the other. So yeah, people have a right to not say anything, but we also have a right to be like, you didn't say anything. And I'm gonna let you know that. Like, I saw that.
This last week has been very scary for celebrities in terms of people that have not said anything. It's also been scary but exhilarating to see celebrities, and even like I was talking about with Just for fans in the adult film world, people being called out on their racism. You know, it could, because it kind of makes you think, even though, you know, I'm not racist, obviously, you know, I fight for equality on all different levels, but it makes me think about every joke I've ever told, any tweet I've ever done, any text I've ever sent, you know, even though seemingly innocent. Now everything is being scrutinized, and it's scary.
Well, I want to give you an opportunity to look at it from a different perspective, because everyone loves to jump and say, well, obviously I'm not a racist, because that feels good to say, well, I'm not racist. Now put it under the zeitgeist and everyone knows that I'm not racist, but maybe take a step back and reevaluate and consider what that could mean. Now, the idea of racism, we have made it where it's such a nasty word, and it is a nasty act. So if you get labeled as being a person who is racist, people think that automatically makes you a bad person. Now, for example, when I lived in Columbus, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia is a pretty conservative town. It's a military town. And I would see people who I would know on a personal level were not horrible people, but would say and do racist things. I talk about things like implicit bias. I have a theory that all white people are racist, and everyone goes, well, not me. There's someone watching this video right now going, not me. Every other white person, not me. But if you, for example, if you're walking down the street, you see a pack of black guys walking towards you, if you cross the street, that's racist. Whether you're right or you're wrong, whether those black guys were going to sing you a song or beat you up, the fact that you crossed the street is racist, because you crossed the street because you thought they were going to beat you up. So therefore, that is racist. So instead of saying I'm not racist, you can reevaluate things like that and find out why it is you do that, how it affects people around you, and what's your part in racism. Because people don't, but just because you're not overtly racist, because you're not calling people the N-word, because you're not calling people, you know, things like that, people think to themselves, well, I'm one of the good guys. But it's possible to be one of the good guys and have some bad traits. Ask Wolverine from the X-Men.
Bob, I love all the insight that you're giving us. When are you going to run for president, by the way?
Oh, could you imagine? I would never run for office, not even in a million years. I don't like wearing suits. Actually, I do like wearing suits. Sometimes I wear suits. I wear different clothes. Sometimes I wear dresses during the day. Sometimes I wear a suit. You know, just like to have fun with my fashion.
Wow. But I love what you're saying, though, because it's kind of incorporating both sides of what's going on, and it's taking it from a different perspective. But I do want to talk about your comedy specials. You know, kind of being a part of a show like a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, or having a script in your hand, or being part of another group is one thing. But doing your own one-person comedy, for Logo and now for Out TV. That's a whole different ballgame. What was your creative process in kind of creating what that one person show would look like? And what were your biggest obstacles in that kind of performance?
So, Suspiciously Large Woman, my first special, available on Amazon Prime. That's Suspiciously Large Woman, available on Amazon Prime, and also on iTunes and stuff as well. Is a show that I had curated that show over years and years of doing stand-up in New York City. That was a lot of stand-up over the years pushed into this one show. My show, Bob the Drag Queen Live at Caroline's, which is, in my opinion, the funnier of the two specials. I'm very, very proud of Bob the Drag Queen Live at Caroline. I mean, honestly, like, I'm not tooting my own horn. It is really fucking funny. I'm really, really proud of it. One of the biggest obstacles was finding time to practice my stand-up before getting a chance to go on stage in front of the cameras. And a big shout out to my friend Mateo Lane, who hooked me up with lots of stages in New York City, who allowed me to get on those stages. So thank you to Mateo Lane.
Is that the hot Mateo Lane?
That's the gay Mario brother.
I know her.
Yeah, he looks like a gay Mario brother with a little mustache.
Yeah, no, he does. It's like Mario, Luigi, and Mateo. It's the media, Mateo. We actually did the gay cruise for Vakaya for their debut cruise together, and he was running around
shirtless. Yeah, that's what he does. It's kind of his thing.
Well, girl, it could be his thing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What were the days like after?
Oh, quick fun story on that cruise. Yeah. There was some day glow party or some party where everyone was doing fun lights. So someone on the cruise gave him this reflective tape to put on his body so he could have a day glow body, but he has really sensitive skin, so he broke out and he had these nasty, vicious rashes all over his body, but in the shape of the tape. So he taped it around his pecs and around his abs. So he had rash pecs and rash abs and it was really, I'm sure he didn't think it was funny, but I got a tickle out of it.
Girl, I'm sure nobody minded. In fact, I remember seeing him all week long. Nobody minded. I want to know, what were the days like after returning home from filming the LA part of Drag Race? You lasted all that time. You were there week after week before the finale. When you got home, what were the first couple of days like? Because there's the energy where you can't really talk about it, but you have all this energy, but then you're back home.
I'll tell you. And I also want to just quickly give a shout out to Jacob Ritz, my partner, who took a lot of these photos you're seeing on the screen. We take a lot of them right here in this basement.
They are gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah, follow Jacob.Ritz on Instagram. He's really, really talented. So you get home, and I wish I could tell you it was a couple of days. It's not a couple of days. I believe it's about 5 months between when you film and when they announce the cast. And it's annoying, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's terrifying. Because folks come up to you and they're like, I know where you were. And I'm like, mind your business, bitch. Mind your business.
But is there kind of almost also you're a performer, you've done theater, you've done shows. Is there kind of that performer's depression that you get too? It's perform, and now it's back to the grind.
No, because my grind was still doing shows. I didn't have a day job to return to. So I finished doing Drag Race and I hit the ground and I started doing drag shows again. So I didn't have to go back to being a high school principal or anything. Is it Just for Fans, the company that released Billy Santoro for the racist comments?
Yes, they were the first organization to cancel it. So Dominic Ford is the founder of Just for Fans, and he's actually my friend. And so I got to interview him directly and hear it. He heard about it. 10 minutes later, Billy's account was gone.
Well, shout out Just for Fans for doing that. I also want to say out loud that I stand with sex workers, not saying people on Just for Fans are sex workers, but I'm saying as a total side note, I stand with sex workers. And this is ethics. Listen, let me tell you right now, it's enough that you have to feel guilty watching TV and watching Trump in the Rose Garden. I don't want to also feel guilty looking at my goddamn pornography. So I would like to know that the people that I'm, getting off to have good ethics. I know that sounds crazy. People are like, should we expect this? Yes, we should hold them to that standard.
Well, so Just for Fans shut down his account, and Billy was he signed up the very first day that Just for Fans started, and he was a great earner for them. So it wasn't just doing what was right. It also hurt. It's going to hurt the
Their
income.
company, yeah.
Right. And then, but it started this great windfall that he got dropped by all of the clothing and lube endorsements, his Only for Fans. And then Billy gave a fake apology. And then I don't know what kind of state he's in, but then he's been saying, oh, thanks for Just for Fans for letting me keep my account under a different name or something like that, which is a total lie. And I just want everybody to know, because Just for Fans got some heat back saying, I thought you said this and now you're doing that. Just for Fans is no way ever going to support that in any way, shape, or form. Do you watch the current seasons of Drag Race and all the incarnations?
Well, amongst my many things I do, I'm also the host of the Pit Stop on RuPaul's Drag Race Viacom's YouTube page. And so I watch every single episode of the Pit Stop. I mean, every episode of All Stars. I've seen every episode of Drag Race.
Well, and we've seen you come back in so many different ways as well.
Well, not that many times actually. I've only been back twice. I came back for Celebrity Drag Race, and I came back to be in the pit for season 10. But outside of that, I haven't been back on Drag Race. They bring all those other girls back to do coaching for shows, but I don't make it back as often as some of the girls, like Alyssa Edwards and those girls do.
But it's funny because it seems like you're still such a part of it. You say only 2, and I'm like, it can't be only 2. I guess your presence is so big, Bob.
Yeah, I did 2 episodes of Celebrity Drag Race, and I did 1 episode of season 10. But I'm also always doing things. I'm on a TV show. I'm in a campaign. I'm doing stand up. I'm traveling. I'm touring. I'm just doing so much that it just seems like I'm always on your TV. And to be fair, I mean, I'm trying to stay on the minds. Yeah, a little bit, trying to.
But you do it in such a great way, because we're here, we're going to talk about We're Here after our break, but you do it in such a positive way. There's some queens, and I won't name names, that are out there. It's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And that's the point of them being in your face. I think you are on this other sincere mission where you're kind of just spreading what you can with your talent. And even what you've said on the show today, it's so invigorating and insightful, and it's for the greater good.
Well, there's nothing wrong with look at me, because let me tell you right now, I love attention. I love it. It's my favorite thing. I love for people to look at me. I love for people to listen to me. I love for people to laugh at my jokes, to give me compliments. I eat that shit up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'm not going to begrudge anyone who wants attention, because that is my mission in life, is to get attention.
Do you think that there is a danger of drag, and this is actually a question we got emailed, do you think there's a danger of drag becoming too commercial and straight washed?
No, I will say this. There's some folks out there who think that somehow other people liking drag or participating in drag diminishes what I do, which is just not the case. There's a really upsetting contingency in the queer community that is annoyed by cisgendered women doing drag, that's annoyed by kids doing drag, that's annoyed by drag queens doing stuff for children. And I'm like, to each their own. Nina West reading books to children does not diminish my drag. A cisgendered woman doing drag does not diminish Bob the drag queen's drag. That's not how it works. This isn't slices of pie that other people are taking up.
You say it, girl. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about We're Here on HBO. When we come back. And we're back. Do you see how we do it, Bob? That's how we do it.
I see it.
I want to know, what do the words "We're Here" mean to you?
We're here. I really love the name of the show, because it says a lot of things. One is the fact that when me, Shangela, and Eureka show up in town, we're here. We're literally here. We've showed up. And it also says we, as in we, the queer community, are here, because a lot of times people forget there are queers in these small communities. We were already in these towns. We are your teachers, we are your children, we are your grandparents, we are your mailman, we are your mayors, we are in the town. We are an integral part of the tapestry of every single facet in every single town in America.
What I really found fascinating about We're Here is that I was taken out of my bubble in these small communities, and I was looking at the dynamic, and I was thinking, how brave would I be if I was in this small community? And I'm not sure that I would be that brave. And to see people live their lives and to see how you affected the lives of the queer community, but as well as their families. One of my favorite episodes was the Native American episode, where we're dealing with a suicide, and we're dealing with cultural differences within a community.
Farmington, New Mexico.
Yeah. It was such a powerful episode for me. And it's a show that I can watch with anybody. It's not like, I love RuPaul's Drag Race, and it has a huge following, mainstream and LGBT. But We're Here it's very emotional, and it's very open, that it's really for any audience. Families can definitely watch it together.
Yeah, it's very different than RuPaul's Drag Race. It's not Drag U. It's not Tu Wong Fu. It's not Queer Eye. It is a completely different thing. Also, congratulations to the entire cast and all the producers. We have just been nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. I mean, who would have thought that a little queer kid from Columbus, Georgia, would be nominated for a Critics' Choice Award for their own show on HBO?
That is a great success story. And I hope somebody living in a small town can say, you know what, I'm going to do that too. And also, I go back to that Coach campaign. Kate Moss is like, I did a campaign with Bob the Drag Queen.
Could you imagine? Could you even imagine? I did get a custom Coach purse out of the deal. Maybe I can grab it real quick. Yeah,
I have to see this.
It's one of a kind. I just rearranged my entire basement, so I'm not sure where all my purses are. I have them all in one area. I'll find it later on. Maybe when we take another break, I'll go find it. Okay. So you can see it. But I do have a custom one-of-a-kind Coach bag that you can't find anywhere else in the world.
Get it, girl. I have to tell you, I was raised by a single mom. She worked 3 jobs to put me through private school, singing lessons, dancing lessons, the whole bit. In fact, we looked at family photos, and from the grade school through college, she had the same outfits in every photo, because she just knew this money went towards me and my career. So,
and she stayed the same size the whole time? Kudos to her.
Well, she was a big girl, so the clothes went from...
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, she looked fun. They were flowing. Sometimes they flowed a little bit more than other times.
There we go.
But I have to tell you, the first time I was able to give back to her a nice gift, I bought her a Coach purse and a little thing like a Coach coin purse.
Oh, nice.
So yes, Coach. But yes. How has We're Here affected you differently than any other project you've ever done?
Well, this feels like, when I did Drag Race, I felt like I had reached a level of a legitimacy in the world, and doing We're Here is another level of that for me. I have my own show. We've been greenlit for a 2nd season of this show, and it's really changing people's lives. Like, I get letters and emails, and not letters. This is not 1999. I get text messages and DMs every day from people saying, like, this show really helped me and changed me, like, truly.
So how many inappropriate pictures do you get DM'd to you?
Not so much anymore. I used to get them all the time, and I used to ask, I used to be like, send nudes, but I haven't said it in a really long time. I did get a proposal on Twitter the other day. A guy on Twitter said, Bob, like, I'm looking to get married. And I was like, oh my goodness. Wow.
It's like, are you a photographer? Can you take my pictures?
What do I get out of this, buddy? He was handsome. He was very handsome.
What do you want to see from season 2 of We're Here?
I would love to go to my hometown. I always wanted to go to Africa. I want to go to Johannesburg. I want to go international. I want to go back to Spartanburg, where we ended the last season, where we didn't get a chance to actually do our work there. That's the kind of stuff I would love to do.
And I love that. That would be kind of dangerous too, traveling internationally to some of these places.
I live for danger.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. I got this question. I cannot tell you how many different times, and I'm not going to say it, but I got this question asked, and then people gave me what their opinion of the answer was. Who was the biggest, like, I cannot, girl, diva between the three of you on We're Here?
Oh, that's an
You
interesting
know
question.
I had to ask. You know I
No,
had
you
to
can ask that question. I mean, I think at some point we all have that. I have a reputation amongst my friends for not always being the easiest person to deal with. So it was probably me. Like like Monet Exchange loves to tell this infamous story of us going on tour in the UK. And then I have a writer which tells like what I need and my like food and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course,
And he didn't have my writer together. And I had it out with this producer over like not getting my writer right. In my defense, I was very hungry. In my defense, I was very, very hungry, and I really needed some food, and he didn't have my food there.
No, well, of course, you need you need fuel.
A girl needs fuel.
Okay, so who was the biggest diva?
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, it probably was me. I'm usually, if you ask Monet, I'm the biggest diva all the time. So honestly, it probably legitimately was me. But that's not me doing a pageant answer. I am a demanding person, and I have no qualms about. I'm telling you, this is legit truth. This is also more self-aware than being a pageant queen. Anyone who knows me knows I don't have a whole lot of decorum, but I am very self-aware, and I do know that I am. I just really like to be, treated with some kindness and respect, but not like diva moments like, my water's not ready, how dare you? It's more like, I'm tired and I need water, and you said there'd be water here, and there's no water here. How can we make sure that next time I come off, there's water waiting so that I'm not like too tired for it?
And it's not even being a diva. It's like you have worked so hard on your career to get yourself where you are. You have a certain presence, and you bring that presence to every project, and that energy that needs to be taken care of.
Well, also, even if that was my first gig ever, I do feel like if you agreed to get me the water, then follow up on your end of the, because I did my end of the deal. I did all the things. You told me to get on stage, you told me to put on makeup, you told me to tell jokes, you told me to be on time. I did all that stuff. And you said you'd get me a trailer and some water and so and so. And I expect you to follow through. I follow through, you should follow through.
I love it. How is Caldwell the most different from Bob the drag queen?
I don't really I'm not one of those people who has like a character for my drag. I don't do a funny voice. I don't do like a interesting weird thing. I don't have a backstory for Bob the drag queen. If anything, Bob the drag queen is really just my nickname, and my drag is my uniform for work. It's like maybe when when a firefighter puts on the overalls, or when a nurse puts on the scrubs. That's how I look at it, because I don't really have a drag persona. I don't really do things differently.
Yeah. And I think that's why your persona is so available to so many different audiences.
Maybe. I haven't really thought about it much, but maybe.
So I want to talk about quickly, and then we're going to wrap up the show. I want to talk about your time on Tales of the City, coming back to a show that's been around for so many different years, and then coming back as a reboot. Laura Linney, Olympia Dukakis, as an acting role is kind of a whole different beast for Netflix. Did you have nerves coming into it, or you were like, I got this?
Well, maybe only a little bit. I kind of got back. So I went to school for acting, and I kind of just got back into acting like in the past 3 years. Tony Kushner, who wrote Angels in America, who wrote Caroline or Change, who wrote the movie Lincoln.
Caroline or Change is one of my favorite musicals in the whole world. It's so good and so underappreciated. If you don't know Caroline or Change, it's free on YouTube. You can listen to the whole soundtrack. Cast recording tonight.
And anyway, so I mean, he's a huge Pulitzer Prize winner, massive name in writing. He watched Drag Race and saw me and went to my website and was like, you need to audition for my show. So I did Angels in America. I did Angels in America in San Francisco for 6 months. And before that, I had randomly met Armistead Maupin at the San Francisco Gala. I met I didn't know Armistead Maupin. I wasn't familiar with Tales of the City. Then I met him through Peaches Christ. And he was like, oh, Armistead is really great. And then I went home and watched Tales of the City just randomly. And then when I was doing Angels, I got a call being like, oh, could you audition for Tales of the City? So at that point I wasn't too nervous because I had been acting across from Steven Spinella, who is a 2-time Tony Award winner from the original cast of Angels in America. And that did intimidate me, quite frankly. Yeah. So after that, I was like, a couple of Oscar winners, and I can do anything.
Well, and Angels in America is such a heavy show.
It's 8 hours long, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So Laura Linney, from the very first episode that she filmed years and years ago, she kept her dress. And so when she and Olympia were asked to be in a Pride in the early 80s or mid 80s, they said, oh, what are you going to wear? She pulled from her closet that dress because it was her own dress, because the budget was so little. They said, hey, can you wear your own clothes? Yeah.
That's wild. I will say this: one day I'm going to come back in the world. Hold on, wait a minute. This is my dress from the first episode of We're Here.
Oh, yes.
One day I am going to do some gig in like 20 years. I'm going to put this dress back on and I'm going to walk into the room. I'm going to like go to the interview. I'm going to show these young girls that I still got it and it still fits.
It'll be like Blanche Devereaux in Golden Girls where the zipper won't zip in the back.
Yeah, probably. But I'm going to wear it anyway.
I want you to wear that and your inauguration speech, because I really want you to run for president. I feel that you have what it takes to unify the nation. All right, we're going to end the show doing a little rapid fire, okay?
Unify the nation. I got to get the nation together. I can't even keep my legs together. How am I going to keep the nation together?
I love it. Okay, are you ready for more rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Is it okay that RuPaul is wearing a face mask during at home?
Well, imagine if you had Raven, one of the best makeup artists in the world, to do your makeup, but she can't come over. I wouldn't want to do a subpar job, so just cover it up.
But there's YouTube tutorials. I've tried it.
Yeah, let me tell you right now. I use YouTube tutorials, and when I was on RuPaul's Drag Race, that was the result. And that was after doing years of it. I couldn't even figure it out. So I'm not going to begrudge anyone. I mean, imagine if you had like one of the best makeup artists in the world doing your face, but you didn't have access to them. I would be like, well, I'm not going to do it. That's me personally.
Okay.
What do I know?
All right. You have performed in so many different ways, from comedy to children's theater to everything. Worst on-stage mishap ever?
So I was performing at Boots and Saddles in the West Village. RIP Boots and Saddles is now gone. And this guy in the front was really drunk. And I told him, I was like, you need to like get it together. And then he took a beer bottle and threw it at my head. Missed me.
Oh my God.
I dodged it. But yeah, he threw a beer bottle at my head.
Jesus Christ. That's not good. Who was a lip sync assassin that you would definitely lose to?
I don't think I could be Evie Oddly. She's so insane with all that flips and it's too much. It's too much.
It's too much. Your biggest pet peeve?
I don't like being rushed. I hate being rushed. Hate being rushed.
Okay. Celebrity you would love to help tuck?
Oh, Jared Leto.
Girl, that's gonna take some tape, because have you heard?
I've heard, girl. We've heard. Yeah, exactly.
He was almost cast in Dumbo, but they were like, oh, it's big ears. And he's like, oh, okay.
Listen, honey, I am ready.
I'm going to send that to him, by the way. I'm going to be like, here we go, girl. Bob, this has been such a delight. I could talk to you forever and ever and ever. And I hope once this quarantine is over and you're back in LA, we can actually sit in studio and have a little drinky poo together.
Well, I have a place in West Hollywood, so I'm trying to get back there in July. But I don't drink. But give me a Red Bull.
You got a Red Bull, girl. Whatever you need, and let's sit and talk it out in real life. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
The best place to find me is bobthedragqueen.com. It has my schedule and all of my social. And if you just Google Bob the Drag Queen, all of my social, I have my Twitter's been going off lately. Ever since ever since I've been really reinvigorated again for Black Lives Matter, my Twitter has really been bananas. I've been on one. Let's put it that way. Monet always says, "Girl, you are on."
I checked it. I was like, "Whoa!"
Lately, so I'm really going. My Twitter is that one queen, and my Instagram is Papa Drag Queen.
I love it so much, and for everybody, you can look. I'll be interviewing Bob the Drag Queen for Metro Source National Magazine for the September issue. So look for that. Bob, I love you so much. My mom loves you, and my mom is actually in the hospital right now. So if you can give her a little, shout out.
What's your mom's name?
We call her Mama Rose for real. She's
Rose.
been a foster mom to so many people in the LGBT community. She has a big cancer surgery kind of next week. She had some complications this last week. So she needs a little cheering up.
Well, listen, first of all, Mama Rose, thank you so much for all you've done, for all the people that you've helped. Let us come together and help you out now. You got this. You know you're a survivor. You don't need me to tell you this. And you know, when you get out, you're not going to be wearing that outfit you wore all of Alexander's life. We're going to give you something new. We're going to give you something nice and a little Coach bag waiting for you when you come out, honey. Now, Alexander's going to buy it, but we're going to get you that Coach bag.
You got it. Oh, God, I can already hear my PayPal ringing up. Bob, I love you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that's all, folks. It's a grab bag of fun every week on The Rocks. You never know who's going to show up. Give us a like, subscribe, a share, send us nudes, and send them to Bob because, he wants some more. Head to ontherocksradioshow.com for all of this fun for free. We keep everything for free because we love you. Hopefully, we will be back in the studio soon, but we're going to wait until it's good. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay tipsy. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been another episode of On The Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. Find everything On The Rocks for free at ontherocksradioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.
You're muted.
Yeah. Give me like 5 minutes, Bob. I just have to switch the banner, whatever. But click that other link, and then we'll do the other.
I'll be there at 11 o'clock, which is not 11 o'clock for you, but 11 o'clock for me. I'll see you at 11 o'clock.
Perfect. I love you, Bob.
All right, love you. Bye.